What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Sunday. Wanted to sit down and take a second. I was out cleaning in the garage and was kind of thinking about one of the previous videos I had put up talking about Delta shower valves, how I repair them when I have a specific body that maybe we're not changing it out, or we're trying to make a repair and the ring is stuck on it, as well as a couple of other questions that I kind of wanted to address. We repair these all the time. It's something I regularly do, maybe even 2 to sometimes 3 of them a week, and we usually stick with Delta. There's a lot of good, other companies out there, but that's just primarily what we stick with. But kind of wanted to address some of the questions that I get on the channel, and especially with my plumbing videos, Delta shower valves. A couple of which being, okay, I've damaged the valve, what do I do now? So somebody's not seen the video, or they've put too much force on this, it's damaged either the valve or the plumbing in the wall, something like that. And I've had other people comment and say, well, you can get that ring off other ways. And those are all good questions, good points, and I wanted to take a second, address some of those talking points and concerns, and just explain why I do some of the things that I do with the valves, as well as we've damaged the piping, now what's the option. So the video where I discuss cutting this ring off and getting this cartridge out, I've had several people comment on the video and say that they've had luck. They soaked it for 2 days, and they might have left warm rags on it, or just various ways that they've let this set and soak, and that's allowed that ring to finally unseize and them to be able to unthread the ring off of the cartridge. I'm sure that does work. There's other things. I had a gentleman the other day ask if you could heat this ring and get it off, and I commented back and explained to him why I don't think that's personally a good idea. You could try that if you want. I do these pretty regularly, so I wouldn't try that, because you never know what their plumbing is that's attached in the wall, as well as those cartridges that are inside are mostly composed of some sort of plastic material. So I don't want to melt that inside of here, nor do I want to melt any piping that's potentially going into the valve behind the wall. And then as far as soaking the ring and getting it off, I'm sure that can work given time and certain circumstances. I'm sure you can get it off, as well as I had one gentleman that told me he only takes these off by basically putting a clamping device on the body and then spinning the ring off. We had difference of opinion on that, and all those things I'm sure do work. The problem I've ran into a lot of times is these bodies are usually mounted into the wall, and the drywall usually comes to somewhere right about in here, and it doesn't leave you a lot of real estate as far as putting another tool behind the ring. A lot of times you can get another tool behind the body, but it's just not something that I've ever taken, I guess, either the time to do or gotten out more tools and tried to really hold the valve. The cutting the ring off is just something that I've always gone with. The other plumbers that I know in the area, that's what they generally do, is just cut the ring off. And I wanted to explain why I cut the ring off of them, because it seems like there's some debate around it. And if I was a homeowner and this was not time sensitive to me, and I had a fair amount of time to let this soak overnight or 2 days or whatever the case was, then I might try that. But the thing with cutting the ring off and not prying on this or twisting on this valve is I generally take off with it in that approach, because we're trying to get a project done for a customer. They don't want me to sit there for 2 days on end with lubricants and other things setting on this, or I'm dripping other things into the tile in the shower. And so I generally go to cut the ring off. It's never gave me an issue. I'm diligent and take my time with it. But it's mostly time sensitive related. I know what I'm getting into when I start to cut this ring. I know what I've got to do to put it back together once I've got it off. So I've just never really tried to take a lot of time to set and let it soak. Another thing that someone had brought up that was a good point was putting some sort of anti-seize or thread lubricant on the threads of the bonnet nut. And that's a good point. I actually might look into that, and if I get a second, I might either email or contact Delta and ask them if there's something that they recommend, like anti-seize. I would think anti-seize would be absolutely fine to put on here. It's just brass, and it would probably keep the corrosion down. But I haven't contacted them to see if there was something that they recommend to put on here for servicing down the road so that you don't run into this issue. But I just wanted to take it a second and address why it is that we cut these off. It's sheerly based on time. The quicker that I can get this off, the new part in, out of the customer's home. And most of the time, people in my area have been telling me that when they're calling in a lot of other plumbing companies, they will not even give them that option as a fix, give them that fix as an option to help remedy their issue, because they start losing hot water, or the valve won't shut off all the way, something where you're having to service this. And so they're giving them $1,000, $2,000 quotes on changing this entire valve. That's an option, but I would say, if it was me doing the work for the customer, I would give them that as a worst case option. And I also think that's pretty high for changing out the valve. But the second part that I wanted to address was, and I've had many people comment on the video and say, I did exactly what you said not to do, which was they put too much pressure on the valve, they started to twist it, and now what do? I've got my water shut off to my house. There, it just starts to turn into a whole fiasco. So what I would recommend, the things that I would recommend if this has happened to you is, you didn't see the video prior, whatever the case was, and a lot of times this is contingent upon what plumbing you have coming to this valve as to what we're going to need to do to now either address it and you're going to fix it, or you're just going to try to maybe get the water to be stopped, but then get the water turned back on to the house, something like that. So if you've damaged this valve and you now have a water issue inside of the wall, or your water's shut off, you've had to shut it off at the street or the main or whatever the case is, there's a couple of things that we can go to do to start to address changing this valve out. And I've responded to a couple people in the comment section about this as well. So they're not difficult to change. We just need to see what's going on. If this is mounted in your shower wall, we need to see what's on the other side of this wall. Is there a place you can gain access from the back of this valve? If it's a hallway, if it's a closet, whatever the case is, a lot of times people have access to these already, or they've cut an access to like the tub down below it for the drain for some reason, and they've left that access there, especially if it's a closet. But if we can get access from behind it, these can be changed from the back. It's not the most fun thing in the world. They're much easier to change from the front when you're building the shower, but I have done them from the back before. Usually I just get my piping all made up to the valve, and then I mount it to a block, and then I put that block in the wall from the back side, and then screw my block off to my stud so that this is rigid mounted. But that's what I would recommend doing. So you've damaged it, you've got your main water shut off. What do I need to do before, let's say a plumber gave me 48 hours before they can show up? Well, you've got a full house of kids, a wife, whatever the case is, and you need to get that water back up. What I would do is, I mean, if you have no other options, then there's no access from the back side of this valve. Yes, you can tear the wall below the valve on the tub side, but now you're either going to have to repair, make another repair in the shower as well once you get the plumbing situated. So I generally try to come in from the back side, but let's say for the video's sake that I can gain access from the back of this tub. Then I would cut the drywall out, and in a lot of cases, before I would get to the plumbing part, I want to make a point. In a lot of cases, go to your local hardware store. Home Depot is usually where we go to because it's close. If you go down the plumbing section, they will have what they call like false knockout panels. They're a spring-loaded panel that you can pick up if this is your case or predicament, that you can cut that drywall out and replace it with this spring panel. Now you'll cut it to the size that that panel tells you to cut it to, but this will give you access and a piece to put back in where you're not having to repair your drywall. But as far as the plumbing part of it, we've cut the drywall out. What do we need to do now to get the house water back up? It depends what's coming to this valve as to how you're going to go about capping off the plumbing. In 99% of the cases, I would say you're going to have PEX, CPVC, or copper. Very rarely I've came across galvanized threaded plumbing coming to it. If that's the case, you could cut the pipe. You know, you have the house water off obviously before you're going to cut into the plumbing, but you could cut the pipe, and then there should be a joint somewhere nearby, and you could unthread that galvanized and then just go get yourself a cap, or like usually it would be 1/2 inch plumbing coming to this, so you could get a 1/2 inch cap and cap that plumbing off somewhere. But if it's CPVC, if it's PEX, or if it's copper, what I would do is just, you have your pipe coming in from the back side of the valve. I would take either a tubing cutter or you know, a pipe cutter, something like that. Go down below the valve somewhere where you have a straight section of pipe, you're not up against another sweat joint or something, and cut that pipe off. And then you can go to the hardware store and get 1/2 inch, generally this is going to be fed with 1/2 inch plumbing. You can get 1/2 inch shark bite caps, and then they just push straight on, kind of like how a finger trap, you know, like old school Chinese finger traps we had as kids that you stick your fingers in and your hand won't come out. That's very much how a shark bite fitting works. They are basically one-way caps or connectors that allow you to change this plumbing out and to not have to go to the extent that a plumber would with sweating piping. Shark bites have made plumbing revolutionary in probably the last 15 to 20 years, as far as just making a lot more ease on either the homeowner or the plumber on upfits and pipe repairs and changing things out. So that's what I would do if you run into this issue. You've broke it loose. You can gain access from the back side of the wall. I would cut the drywall out, cut the pipe off, go get yourself a couple of 1/2 inch stops. If you have to go to the hardware store, cut that pipe off, and then either maybe take your old valve or cut another little short section of pipe to the hardware store with you, so that way you can show that to the guy in the plumbing department or whatever the case is and tell him, I need to cap my plumbing off, and I need a shark bite stop to put on it. He'll tell you if that shark bite stop will work with that or not. Now, shark bites will work with PVC, PVC, PEX, and copper, and you don't need any kind of different fitting that'll work between all three. So that's one route you could go. Another one is, and a lot of times I've had to do this before because I could not get the water bled down in the house enough to make a sweated connection when I'm changing these valves out. So usually, I've explained this in other videos, when you're doing these valves, a lot of times state plumbing codes require that that be a solid connection in the wall to change these out. So many times when I'm putting these in new, I'll have the wall open, I'll cut the old valve and plumbing out, and I will sweat what they call a crimp tube fitting onto the copper and then convert that to PEX from there. Or if it's CPVC, a lot of times I'll do what I'm about to tell you, which if you have access from below, so you've broke the valve or whatever the case is, maybe you're just changing this valve, if you've got a crawl space or a basement where that plumbing's accessible from below, I would, especially as a homeowner, if you're not comfortable with sweating piping and you're not sure, go get 2 1/2 inch shark bite, what they would call a union connector, and you can change this whole valve yourself. I mean, it's basically plug and play parts and pipes. You can get the PEX to change this out yourself. They make the shark bite fittings that will thread straight onto this valve. You'll need to pipe dope and that type of thing to change them and put the fittings together, but it is changeable. I think it becomes a daunting task to the homeowner because there's too many products, there's too many things out there on the market that we just don't know what it is we have to do to change this out. So that's the biggest reason I wanted to put the video up, was to just maybe clarify some of these things and tell you what I would do in some of these circumstances that people have commented to me about. It's not too bad. I've ran into issues before where the things that I've just recommended to you will not work, and I understand that. But it shouldn't be, don't let it overwhelm you that you've made a mistake or whatever the case is, and now you've either got to change this or at least get the plumbing capped off to where you can get the plumber in to change it and get the house water back on. So, you know, hopefully these tips will help you out. Certainly if you have any other questions or comments, you know, please put them in the comment section down below. I love to help. I love to give, you know, my opinion on it. You know, I'll respond to some people, and I actually got into a back and forth with a gentleman that told me that I'm doing the wrong thing by telling people to cut this ring off. And the thing is that I like that there's different ways to go about how you want to do stuff, as well as that's an opinion. You can go about doing this completely differently. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean I'm wrong. It doesn't mean I'm right. There's different ways to go about this and all be right. I know many other plumbers that do exactly what I showed you all to do. And like I said, the reason for that is generally out of time sensitivity, that I'm just trying to make that repair and not run the risk of doing any sort of damage in the wall or damaging the body and getting into the problem further. So, you know, we hope these types of tips help. I'm trying to get better about spending some more time to really clarify some of these issues. I can take these valves, and if anybody has, you know, wants to see some of this more in depth, for a while I've thought about mocking up basically a framed wall and put one of these valves in and just kind of show you the differences of what type of piping you could have coming to this valve and how we would go about interchanging between. But there's so many different valves on the market. There's Moen, there's the Delta products, there's Pfister, there's thousands on Amazon that I could get specific on Delta, but that's really just what we use. There's so many, but I guess these ways of going about installing it are pretty well universal across the board, but each manufacturer is going to have their own little set of circumstances for how their valve needs to be installed. So, like I said, if this helps you, I hope it helps you. And if you have any questions or comments, just please put them down below. If you would like to see a second video of how I mount this valve in the wall and what some of the circumstances are with different things coming to this and how we interchange between those pipes, I would love to do that video for you. It doesn't bother me in any way to make that video. So we hope this helps you out. We look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care and have a good day.